Oh, all righty then. I guess we're live here for the Stone Roadie show, number 34, and action. All righty then. Looky here. This is the Stone Roadie show number 34, and this my name is Craig Reed, and over yonder in the other screen over there, that's Kathy GODSEY, and she was a guest on the Stone Roadie show for number 28, and then I had her come back on and co-host the Stone Roadie show on 29 when Griff was on vacation. And so Griff is moving this week. So Kathy said she was off today, and I asked her if she would be mind filling in for Griff Martin while he's moving, and she said no, she'd actually enjoy coming and doing the Stone Roadie show again. Be glad to come in and be fill in for us anytime we'd like to have you. And we'd like to have you often there, lovely Kathy Godsey.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you for stopping in. And Kathy and I talk quite often on the phone, and she's been mentioning to me that we don't try to really pay attention to anything that happens on YouTube, and we just kind of work around our fake book crowd over there with all the fan base stuff over there. And, a lot of these podcasts are for those of you on YouTube, and we're kind of throwing this show toward you a little bit over there, but we started out on fake book, the Stone Roadie show, and how that all happened was that people started noticing my name in a bunch of books, and then they found me on fake book, and they just said, well, why don't you write a book? And I just said, I'm not really into writing a book, but there was some people approached me about doing a Zoom meeting. So I kind of went and got a microphone and a camera and lights and everything. And I told him I would do a Zoom meeting with I think it was Music Explorer magazine. So I got all this stuff, and then I didn't hear from him. And I was talking to our normal co-host Griff, who I actually met from the Stone Roadie show on or no on fake book. I'm sorry, met on fake book because he was running around with Joe Crimp, who ran around with the Skynyrd boys back in early days. Joe Crimp was the drummer of a band called Slowpoke, was down there in the Jacksonville area, and Griff through Gene Odom met Joe Crimp, and one day, Griff and Joe Crimp were doing somewhere, and Joe Crimp said, "Hey, Craig, look, or Griff. I wonder what Craig Reed would say about that fat woman over there." And Griff said, "You know that guy Craig Reed?" And he goes, "Yeah, he was one of the main roadies for Lynyrd Skynyrd." And he goes, "I see him on Facebook. He's funny. He thinks the same way I do a lot about stuff, And so then he contacted me, and we've kind of been friends. He was a rocket scientist down there at NASA, working on that crawler that takes the space shuttle out to the launch pad, and I nicknamed him the rocket scientist. But yeah, he's moving, and so like I said before, I asked Kathy to come back and be our co-host, and like I explained before, that she had mentioned that we hadn't been paying attention to some of the YouTube crowd. But then I said, well, I don't notice that the YouTube crowd, really pays much attention to what I'm talking about anyways, because I've asked you guys about not a million times, that's an exaggeration, but a few times to if you like us, hit subscribe and like and subscribe. And You know why? Because it don't cost nothing. It just kind of raises us up on the algorithm. And the only reason we'd like to do that is when we started this Stone Roadie show, we were just doing it for Facebook, and then people said, well, yeah, but you can make money off this off of YouTube. And we thought, if we ever did make any money, neither Griff or I wanted to make any money off this, but if we did, we were going to donate proceeds to some people that are still having problems, like I heard that were survivors of the plane crash, because nobody got hardly any money from that plane crash. It's a pity. Everybody should have had $1 million insurance policy on them from that crash, and that ain't what happened. I think I got 40 or 44 or 48, I don't even, $1,000, and and then while I was still laying in shock and recovery, I got a letter from the attorney asking me to donate part of my money to the women that lost their husbands in the crash. So I donated part of my $44,000 to Judy and Teresa so they could live a good life, So enough said about that. But there was no hardly any money, and like Mark Howard just had a surgery, and Joe Osborne, he kind of died a few years ago from complications of the plane crash, and Donnie Crutchmeyer and Ron Eckerman, he got cancer, but he's died since then, and Mark Frank, he's had a stroke and some stuff from I think it's from complications of being on that airplane crash. And then Mark Howard, and then Paul Welsh. Mark Howard's has suffered a lot of pain and anguish from this, and so has Paul Welsh, and Leslie Hawkins. She's still having a lot of issues from being on that plane. Me myself, I was back to work with the plane crash. It was October 20th. By February, I was living in New York City in the studio with Foreigner, so I went right back to work. But a lot of people weren't able to, and we just thought if we ever made any money off this, which doesn't really look like we're going to at the rate of like and subscribes we're hitting with YouTube. But I've been kind of enjoying doing this. I kind of like over my head with some of the stuff that I've bought to do this, like this green screen here. I was trying to figure out how to use it, and people were going, man, you need all these lights and special hair lights and special light for the thing, and for the green screen has to be lit, your hair has to be lit, and your face has to be lit, and sounded so complicated, and I got all these lights and stuff before I got the green screen, but I can't even turn them on. I got 275-watt bulbs up there, and I got a key light over here in the corner, and it's plenty enough light. So if a green screening scares you, don't let it. It's really, really easy, But we had a little Murphy's Law thing go on here. I had some stuff, Elgato stuff, that's supposed to go with an Elgato camera, but I bought a bunch of stuff and I didn't know what I was buying, and I didn't buy an Elgato camera. I got a better camera, but the thing that I bought to run a bunch of other stuff, I guess it won't work without an Elgato camera. So don't buy that other thing over there that's supposed to control stuff, because it won't work unless you got an Elgato camera. Of course, they don't tell you that when you're trying to explore what you need to buy to do one of these. But anyways, so we're gonna ask Kathy GODSEY to step in here, and I'm going to quit jibber jabbering. I think I covered everything I need to cover. But yeah, we're going to get her to get in here and do a little jibber jabbering and ask me some questions that some of y'all have been asking on YouTube, because we kind of I know some of you Facebook people. Kathy said was just telling me she was looking at Facebook, and Kathy Keeble and a bunch of people are going, "Where's that podcast?" But yeah, like I said, like I tried to mention, we had a little issue with Murphy's Law here and had to postpone it for a little bit, and then yeah, we had some issues here, but here we go with the lovely Kathy GODSEY. Welcome,
Thank you.
Kathy GODSEY.
Thank you, Craig, the world's most famous roadie, and not the world's most famous, but the world's most famous stoned roadie.
Go ahead. I'm going to answer this.
which I can say,
Unknown.
which I can say without laughing.
Hello.
But it's a pleasure to be back, and it's so much fun. I'm a teacher, and I wasn't working today, so when Craig asked me to fill in, I said sure, I have a blast. But I did mention to Craig and Griff that a lot of people are putting comments on YouTube, and no one's answering the comments, and fun comments and questions, really funny things. And I noticed some people are actually writing the same. Some people are every week they're writing the same question, waiting for an answer. So I said, I think we should answer these questions. And there's some people that I feel like they're family. There's a cousin Figel, and hope I'm pronouncing it right, but he keeps repeating the same question. I think he deserves an answer. So his question is, how and when did Billy become a roadie for the band? Thanks, cousin Figel.
Well, cousin Figel, that's a little bit before my time, but from what I understand from some pretty reliable sources, that Billy Billy was running around with Jeff Carlisi, who's a guitar player from 38 Special, and I think him and Kevin kind of hung around with each other. But Billy's dad was in the was some kind of an officer in the Navy, and his mother had sent him to classical piano school, and she had big plans for Billy in Carnegie Hall, which he actually, I think we ever play? I don't remember if we played Carnegie Hall. I
I don't
don't think we.
recall hearing about that. Go ahead.
No, well, we play. Where did we play up there? The big place in New York. Oh, poopy doo doo. One of them. Anyways, uh, so Billy, okay. So yeah, he was just kind of hanging around in the band and stuff, and he was, a piano player, and he became a roadie, and I guess I don't really know. I wasn't there, but I guess nobody really paid me most attention to having a piano player in Lynyrd Skynyrd. It was just, he plays piano. So what? We're not, we're a rock band, and so then they were, they were playing Freebird, and there was a piano sitting around somewhere, and Billy said, if I was to write an intro to Freebird, this is how it would go. And then I guess they heard him and it just blew their mind, So then he kind of moved from roadie to piano player. It's a pretty dramatic step, I guess. But that's as far as the story I know about that there.
Okay, so that leads me into the next question. Thank you for that, by Cindy Free. And she writes, hey guys, I was wondering if y'all could talk about how Freebird was born.
Well, then again, it was before my time, but as I recall, it was written by Alan, and I guess maybe Kathy, his wife Kathy, they had said something like, I asked Alan, if I left here tomorrow, would you still remember me? And he kind of wrote a song around it, and I guess it was just I don't know if I guess that's the way he presented it to Ronnie, and Ronnie and he had this big long guitar solo, and I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg,
Yeah.
but that's kind of the way it started out. And I heard that it started out as an instrumental, and then Ronnie wrote the words, and then wrote what Kathy wrote, asked Alan, And since I wasn't there, I can just, the rest of it is secondhand information, but it sounds pretty close to what actually happened.
Yeah, and that's what I heard too. I heard that that was based off of something that Kathy had said to Alan. That Alan was only about 21 when he wrote that, right? He was very young. It was early in Lynyrd Skynyrd because
Yeah.
it was on the very first album.
Blows my mind that Alan didn't start really playing guitar till he was like 13, 14,
Yeah,
maybe something like
yeah,
that. He started really late.
very talented. Yeah. So that was a question that Cindy Free asked, and I'm sure that a lot of people also are wondering, how that song came about and what was the basis of the Freebird and the lyrics. Another question was from somebody by the name of they just put Clausum 2203, but question was, what was the band really like on a day-to-day basis?
Just like normal people. It's kind of funny. They're just normal people. They just real good at playing music. I mean, all the bands I worked for, they were basically the way they were at home is the way they were on the road. I mean, and there was nothing, except for they were able to buy a lot of nice things, because they had money. But no, they're just on a day-to-day person. Luckily, me and Gary and Alan and Billy and Leon and Artemis and Steve, Ronnie, I was real close with all of them. I mean, as far as I was like, I guess people say I was like a band member, and it's really true. I just didn't play them on an instrument in the band, but I was there for everything. When they went to the studio, I went with them because I started out as a drum roadie, and then I moved up and learned how to do guitars, and then I was a stage manager, production manager, and everything. And then so when they went into the studio, I went with them because I could do everything that needed done.
Right.
So Leon lived with me. I lived with Alan. I stayed at Billy's. I went and stayed at Gary's. I stayed at Alan's. I mean, went to South Carolina and stayed with Artemis. And when Chad was little, and he would play with Chris, and we would go climbing mountains and stuff. We were climbing mountains, handing kids up the side of mountains. Yeah, it was a yeah, I guess that was a pretty unusual childhood. Chad, we have Chad on here occasionally. As a matter of fact, Lily, next week we're having Mike Estes, who played guitar through the early '90s with Skynyrd, and then he started Skinny Molly with Jay Johnson, who's Jimmy Johnson from Muscle Shoals. They've been playing together for years, and so then Paul Abraham is going to be on again with Mike. All of us have been friends for years, and normally when we have Mike on, we have Paul on because Paul and Mike were neighbors down in Nashville, and they became real close, and so no, they don't get together very often, so they enjoy getting on together on the STONED Roadie show and just kind of reminiscing. They don't really stay in touch that much anymore, as much as we used to. But it's the same with me and Mike. We just don't know. We've kind of got our own lives, and we talk whenever we can. But Mike just came back from Europe, so we're going to have him on again with Paul, and then the week after, I guess Lee Wilkerson. I guess my son Chad was on talking about growing up with Lynyrd Skynyrd, what it was like, and I guess Lee Wilkerson must have caught wind that Chad was talking about him because he was Kathy Keeble was talking to Lee, and one of them brought up they should come on the STONED Rodeo show, and Lee said, "Yeah, he'd love to come on." So I thought we'd have I'd have Chad again with Lee, so they could kind of share some stories. And Chad called me after we got done. He goes, God, after we hung up, I had about 10 more things I could have said, So I think he wanted to come on a little bit. And then he's been talking a lot with Chris Pyle, and I guess Chris Pyle is going to come on at some point. And
That'd be so great to have all the kids talking.
yeah, they all when Leon would talk to Lily, he would say, here's Craig, say hi to Lee, and he would always tried to keep us, both of us, kind of pretty close. Me and Leon was pretty close. Leon lived here right in the Stone Roadie studio for a couple
Oh,
of years throughout the late 90s. He come up and stayed with me and our other friend Doyle Baird, and whose father was the famous Doyle Baird, the professional boxer. Doyle lives over there in Portage Lakes, and his dad Doyle Baird fought middleweight back in the 50s or something. I'm sorry, I don't remember 60s or whatever, but all that stuff's a long time ago. But anyways, yeah, well, thanks for that topic that I got carried away with.
that's okay. But the next question has to do with the band members also. I mean, I noticed it myself that whenever I look at pictures of the original band, Ed King, he's always standing to the side. You never see him with his arm around anybody with his arm around him. It's just so obvious that you don't see that same kind of bonding or whatever between him and the band members. But Brian wrote in, he said, Ed King has said he felt like an outsider in band. Did any other band members treat him differently, or was it because he wasn't from the South? And we all know he was from California. So was that it, or was it just a personality thing?
Well, it's a hard question for me because a lot of you know that Ed hired me, that
Yes.
I was living here in Ohio, and I was met up with a band up in Kent, and I was staying there and just for the weekend, and so we ran into them, and I come around. Well, I was checking in. The lady said that I was staying in the room next to the Who, and I'm going, yeah, right here in the Holiday Inn in Kent. So we pulled around there, and there was a U-Haul van unloading a U-Haul trailer. I just came up and said, one of y'all, the band playing in the hotel, and they go, we're Lynyrd Skynyrd, and at that time I'd never heard of them, and even for a couple of days I couldn't remember Lynyrd who. What was that crazy name? God, I couldn't remember that name. I didn't know how to spell it for a long time.
People still can't spell it. They still
Oh,
spell it with A's.
yeah, it's funny. I laughed, but then I have to remember how long how hard it was for me to do it. I worked for him, but yeah, Ed, they came after I parted with them at the Holiday Inn. They needed some supplies to take with them, to keep them awake or whatever. So they came out to my house. It's this house right here, and I took them and got them some supplies, and we were in the basement, and Ed asked me if I'd ever thought I'd want a job. I'm going, like, doing what, and I suppose it was for the same purpose they came here, as they needed somebody that could find them stuff on the road, and maybe bring women backstage or whatever. And seemed like I was pretty good at that job. That's what I did at first, anyways. But they taught me how to set up the drums. But as far as Ed, yeah, he was from California, and why he thought I would fit in with this band, he was, I guess he had a pretty good eye for that, because that Billy used to say I was the most loyal employee that they ever had, and I guess they all agreed, because they said it would be bad luck if we fired Craig Reed, whatever he did. Yeah, that he's did so much for us, But I don't know. But anyways, Ed King. Yeah, I guess he was guy from California, and yeah, he was different than any of the guys, and yeah, he just kind of stayed in his room. He didn't associate with them very much, whenever he was always kind of alone. And yeah, but he would get together with one or the other with them when they were in their writing stuff. But as far as being on the road, yeah, he only participated as a band member. He wasn't really didn't have a lot of chemistry with the guys.
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, and you can see that in all the photographs. He was just there. It was a job, I guess, to
Yeah, he
him.
said even at the Hell House when they took the Hell House picture, he felt like he was an outsider and he was standing at the other corner
Yeah,
of the Hell House. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's an interesting story about Ed King. It's just amazing that all those, just like Ed being so different than anybody else, and then them picking up Steve Gaines, just from out of the clear blue. And it's just like, how did those I don't know, Gary and Alan and Steve and Ed, it just seems like those guys were just four of the greatest guitarists that ever existed on the face of the earth since the dawn of time, I guess. and
Yeah.
and they came from different parts of the world. Steve from Oklahoma and Ed from California, the rest of the guys. I guess Ronnie was actually born in South Dakota or something like that, from what I heard. He wasn't really even, because Lacey was a truck driver. and
Oh.
uh so I guess, I don't know, that's what I heard, that Ronnie was born in South Dakota or something. But don't put that in the history books, because that's that's I could be mistaken, but I think that's what happened.
I heard that Alan's family came from Alabama originally, right? His father went
All
to
I
Alabama.
know about Larkin was his mom and dad were hooked on uh morphine.
Oh,
That when it was legal, that his mom and dad were hooked on morphine. And Larkin ran away from home when he was like 16 years old, and just went and did whatever he could. And yeah, he left home when he was 16. His mom and dad were drug addicts. Yeah.
and he was a
So I
pretty
don't know where.
conservative fellow, right? He was pretty conservative and pretty tough on Alan when he was growing
Oh
up.
God, yeah. He just thought Alan was crazy. He's gonna go play guitar to make a living, because Larkin came from, he had to fight for every penny he ever made. So it was rough for him to. He became successful. He was Jacobs Avenue was where his office was, where he dealt in the food business. He was a traded food to the circle. I don't know exactly what, something to do with food, but he was a middleman for the factory and the store or whatever. And as far as I could calculate, but then Alan, Rossington Collins, after the plane crash, they decided that they would use Larkin as their manager. And then down on Jacobs, we turned it into the studio where they rehearsed. And then I was the production manager and stage manager, and me and Mike Sparks were really the only two employees the band kept on a salary. And Mike was basically took care of the equipment, and then I was, with Larkin, advancing shows and stuff that I hated to do. I hated that job. You never had a day off. My God, when you're a roadie, you just worked on the road. But when you're in the management field, yeah, you get preparing for you do one tour and then you're preparing for the next tour. It's just, and if everything's not right when you walk in the doors for the tour, it's your fault. So it's got to be right. So it's the pain. It's it's, you're always working. There's never a day off.
But you stepped up to the plate. You started out as like you said, a drum tech and guitar tech, and then you really accepted the responsibility and you had the personality and that loyalty, which you said Ronnie wanted. And you really were a big part of their success. And
Well, I
going
was
back, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was perceptive as to, because
Mhm.
Ronnie had the attitude, you guys cover each other. You know,
Yeah.
if you you see, you should be aware of the big picture, not just your drums.
Yeah.
You look over at Billy and you see a problem, you should be able to go over there and fix the problem, or know what's wrong or whatever. I mean, it was only the time of the show, it was just me and Joe Barnes were on stage, and Joe Barnes was changing guitars and stuff. So I was, doing the drums, but I would watch, and a lot of things happen to the drums. Your kick pedals break, your sticks break, your head. But if you keep everything, uh, uh, what's the word? Like it's supposed to be new, and in good shape, you
Mhm.
shouldn't have any problems. But you still have, if you're using chains on the kick drums, those chains break, and the snares on the bottom of the snares snap loose, and you shouldn't have any head issues. So I did have a kick drum, the ball thing of the kick drum come off of the steel thing, and and that steel, the steel shaft that holds the ball, that batter that hits the drum went through the drum head. That was a little difficult, but yeah, you don't want, like, yeah, there's, the cymbals, it just, there's a lot of screw things that hold the hardware together on a drum kit, and if you don't tighten, if you got to tighten, you got to try everyone, and then when you're an opening band, sometimes you have the room to keep your drum set up, but sometimes you don't, and you never know when you got some smart ass stagehand to go over and just loosen that thing up just a little bit, so
Yeah.
the cymbal will fall halfway through the set.
So I have a
You
question.
gotta.
So Craig, so were you and Joe responsible for all the load in and load out, or were there other people that helped do all of that?
Well, there's stagehands at the place, that
Oh,
there's 6 or 8 guys that, you just say, carry this and put it over there and move it. And a lot of the places were like New York City and Chicago and Detroit, and a lot of the bigger cities where the unions are real strong. Yeah, they got it, so they don't want you to touch anything.
okay.
We'll bring you go and stand where you're going to set it up, and we will carry it there for you, but you cannot take your stuff and move it. That's the
Oh,
unit
gotcha.
job. Yeah, there a lot of places aren't that strict, but like, actually Cleveland's not. I worked for the local in Cleveland. They're a little snitty about it, but like Akron, Canton, that's where I live now. And well, I don't work for the union, or I used to go down and do shows because I knew everybody that was, worked, and I worked for the union for about 20 years, just doing shows when I wanted to, but I did quite a few. But I'm sorry we got off on that kick again. Let's go back to some questions.
Okay. So this has to do with who the guys hung around with, and somebody uses the name of Rollins Cost. Sorry, I can't read it. Rollins Cossington. That's their name on YouTube. But they said they're asking who did Steve hang around with when the band was off the road? Steve.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Steve, everybody, yeah.
And then did Craig and Steve ever have time together as Craig did with Leon or Craig and Alan? Now we know you hung around with
Well,
Alan, you hung around with Leon, but
Steve was married, and
yeah.
they just had a child. So yeah, he was a family man. He didn't really party with us. I mean, Steven, Teresa, and Karina would, we hung around because I was kind of married at the time, so I don't really remember my wife Sue and Teresa hanging out all that much. Sue and Chad hung around a lot with Amy and Kathy, and and Chad and Amy are still friends, although Amy doesn't really want anything to do with the whole. She just doesn't want anything to do with any of it. And last I heard, Chad, he didn't know her number, and he was trying to get it off of Alan's sister Betty, and they haven't been success. I guess Betty said she gave the number to Amy, but Amy hasn't responded. But yeah, Chad stays in touch with Chris and Joel and Brandon Powell, and he tries to stay in touch with Alice and Alan's other daughter, but she's kind of like in an institution place.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chad used to stay in touch with Tammy Van Zandt, who just passed away, not long ago. Ronnie's first child. And yeah, what was the question? I forget what the question was.
You
Who
answered
about
it.
Steve? It was about Steve. Yeah, yeah. He on the road. He did. He was friends with everybody, but Steve and I became friends first. Like good friends, because the first show we did at Grand Strand Music in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I was like there, setting up for the band and stuff, and Steve showed up, and I don't know which. I guess I said, "Yeah, Steve, you want to smoke a joint?" So we went and smoked pot for about 4 hours somewhere, and my stuff was, I was the guitar roadie. Yeah, okay, and yeah, so yeah, naturally we met. I was a guitar roadie, and I was helping him set his stuff up, and we just were smoking pot the whole time for 4 hours, and he just
I was just gonna say, you look to
okay,
your
yeah,
right.
like here, right here. I took this picture here. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking at
there's
that
Steve.
picture as you're talking, thinking, all right, I already know how you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
answer
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, there you go, right there. Yeah, this is my green screen at work there. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and I'm not even paying attention. I'm noticing there.
I'm just
Yeah,
wondering where
that's
Alan
part of my
is.
technology. Yeah. But yeah. Like I said, he brought Stephen or uh Tracy Teresa and Karina around a lot, but Karina was real young. And I've heard that she doesn't even remember Steve.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
a
She was really,
baby. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very sad. All right, I got another question. This is about Gary's 59 Les Paul. Somebody by the name of Don D says, this is a question for Craig. I read that the headstock broke off in the 70s. Do you know the story behind this? Is it still
Boy,
playable?
do I know the story behind that. I'm probably
Hold on. I'm reading the rest. Gary, if it's not already out, Gary should bring it out of retirement for a few shows before the band retires for good.
Oh, that guitar's worth over $1 million. I mean, probably, I would imagine, but yeah, that was probably my fault. We were down there. I guess that's why you can call me the Stoned Roadie. I wasn't responsible a lot of times, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, we were at Criteria Studio, and I guess I just left the guitars out with the cord plugged into it, and we were not there, and I guess somebody went through the studio and caught the cord in their foot and pulled it down off the stand and broke the head off of
Oh
it.
my God.
And I mean, Gary was about to cry, and there was a guy there, and he said, "I can fix that." Just like out of the clear blue, the guy's, "I can fix that." Gary just said, just take it, it, just take it. So a couple of days later, the guy brought it back, and you couldn't even tell it was broke. It had some kind of super glue. And oh man, Gary was just so it was like, wow, like bringing Bernice back to life, you know. She had her head cut off, you know,
And
and
Bernice
brought her
is
back to.
currently at the she's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that is the only piece of Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff they have up there is Bernice.
And that would be the only reason that I would want to go there is to see.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Taylor Swift has this great
Yeah.
big display, and there's a couple of it's kind of, you know, they told me if I let them use my home movies that I was a VIP person up there forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and it was that way up until last year. I went up there and they said, who the hell are you? And I told them, I said, what happened? And they were, well, you're going to have to get reapproved. I said, well, who do I do that with? Well, I don't know. And I've called up there about 4 times and they're ignoring me. It's a bunch of young kids. You know, you can tell by the way they run it. They were, everybody up there is in their early 20s.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's, yeah, it's been woke. Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is woke.
that's a shame. That's a
Yeah.
shame. In addition to the questions that people have asked on YouTube, a lot of really cool comments. Mark Regan says, "You two guys have the coolest show," meaning you and Griff, obviously. Craig, take care of that arm, and happy trails on moving, Griff. You are putting smiles on many faces.
I got the stitches out of my arm today,
Yeah.
and the doctor didn't want me to put that elastic thing on there so it would have air. And I said, I don't want to bump this thing on this thing here again this week like I did last week. So when I get done with this podcast, I'm going to take it off. But man, I hit that thing last week. I'm glad I had that cast on there. So I didn't
You
want
can
to do
put a
that
bumper
again.
on there, like a little bumper or something
Well,
to
I don't
protect.
normally, I only sit here during the STONED Roadie show, and this is my drink holder here.
Now, for those who don't know the story, no, you did not injure your arm. That had nothing to do with the plane crash. You had a piece of metal in there that you had taken out, but it had nothing to do with the plane crash.
Yeah, and somebody wanted to buy it, and I asked them. I said, I want that piece of metal out of my arm. I'm gonna sell it. And I was only being facetious, you know. I'm gonna take it out of my arm, I'm gonna sell it, you know. And somebody asked me if I still had it. They wanted to buy it. But I asked him again. I asked him today. I said, I said, where is it? And they said it would be illegal for them to give it to me, some kind of a biohazard or something.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No, I
I
don't
can
know. Maybe it's
imagine.
because I had hepatitis C. But I no, I'd got rid of the hepatitis C by the time I got that put in. No, I didn't either. I still had it. Yeah, it had Hep C on it.
Oh, so
No, I
Kate,
don't have it anymore. I took Harvoni and got rid of it.
good, good. Glad to know that. Katie Waltz says, thank you for doing these Katie Waltz. Thank you for doing these podcasts. It's really neat hearing all the all the stories. Good. God bless you. Tony Leonard, great idea, Craig. People need to hear the real story. Rock on, my brother. Mark Fry, thank you, Craig. You are a speaking encyclopedia. Absolutely fascinating. You got a lot of good shout outs. Katie Waltz again. Somebody by the name of RRRTTT. Great video, Craig. You are a world of information. David Lee, Craig Reed, you're the man, the real deal, and a pleasure to know you. Greetings from Jacksonville. Morning Mary 67. I'm so glad to see you're back, Craig. I love hearing you talk about all your memories, and I love your laugh, which is what I said. And one more, Kyle Dominy, most reliable source right here. No axe to grind, tells it like it is. Thank you, Craig. So those are just a few of the so many comments that people are writing on YouTube, and I wanted to acknowledge that because people are really enjoying the shows. They're just looking forward to them every week, and they're saying, you know what, you can run it for an hour and a half as long as you want. They're watching the whole thing. So people are really
Well,
enjoying it.
have you been timing this one? I actually have not.
No, but you're
Oh,
doing most of the talking, so
I
it's
have a
okay.
clock up there, but I don't think that's the right time.
No, I
No.
still have more questions to ask you from your
Okay,
fans.
we'll just roll with it. I've lost track of time. We're just gonna roll with it. I don't care.
All right. Doris Desermo asks, how many fights did Ronnie get into with rock bands?
None.
Yeah.
No, no, he didn't, he wasn't a bully with no, he treated other bands with respect and he told the Roadies to do the same thing. He said they might be opening up for us today, but you never know.
Mhm. Yes.
We need might you just never know. He said just treat everybody the same, just with respect, because and that's the way Ronnie felt about it. He says, what was that? What was that? Some men think they got it made. If some think they got it made if they you think they do. Every mother's son, yeah.
Oh, a beautiful
Yeah,
song.
I've been riding a winning horse for a long, long
Yeah.
time. Sometimes I wonder, is at the end of the line. No, some people take advantage of who they are. If you think you got it made, son, you got it wrong, or something. I think you got it wrong. Every mother's son, yeah.
He wrote beautiful lyrics. That was so Ronnie, so
Oh
simple,
God, all his
so
lyrics
simple.
were,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Um, Another question, I think people think of Ronnie, the Reputation, because everybody knows that picture of him with the black eyes. And they think he was a badass, maybe starting trouble. Where did the black eyes come from anyway?
Well,
Because that's a very well
the
known.
famous one was when he had the sunglasses on. I still remember getting up on the bus in the morning, and he was in the bunk above me, and I get up, first thing I'd see is him, them two big purple. I mean, they were purple, and they were shiny, like you just put Vaseline on them. Oh yeah, it was the two biggest black eyes, man. They were swollen, and he put them sunglasses on and did the whole show. And at the end of Freebird, when he got rid of the mic, he'd take his glasses off, and the whole front row was like, "Wow!" Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, he liked to show off his battle wounds, and you always notice he had his hand in a bandy, not a bandage, but
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
like, yeah, can you see that? Look.
But where did he get those black eyes in that incident, though? What
Oh,
happened?
he jumped out of the bus and some middleweight champ, Golden Glove champ, got his ass kicked. He was probably intoxicated. I think the guy hit him so fast, put knots on his head so fast he couldn't rub them.
And there's another picture I've seen of Gary with his front teeth knocked out too.
No,
He just
he
he
left
just
his teeth in the torn off in that car he wrecked. Brand new whiskey bottle, brand new car, oak tree in my way. I think, yeah, his teeth ended up in the steering wheel, I think, or on the
Oh,
dashboard.
oh, I thought
I
that
don't
was from a
remember which
plane.
one. Yeah, I think it was his teeth were in the steering wheel. That torn out or
That's
something.
a very fair. Yeah, you had said something about somebody you wanted to know which tree was it that Gary ran into, and you said he ran into every oak tree in Jacksonville,
No,
right?
Gene Odom said that. Yeah, he was telling everybody that about the tree Gary hit, and Joe Crimp was with Gary. That was a party. We were all partying at Gary's first house he had. He had got a little bitty house, and he had that Torino green, that Ford Torino, and Joe Crimp was with him, and we had, it was, I don't know, we had a great big party at Gary's house, and after I left. They left and went somewhere. Well, that was an all day party, man. It was like all day. It started early.
I got another question from somebody calls himself On Doe. I want a shirt like Griff has. Where can I get an in my opinion shirt? I'd like to get one of those too. I'll send you money for one of those in my opinion t-shirts. Give me your address and
Um,
I'll PayPal you the money.
um, I have a lot of those I gave away. I've got a lot of friends that most of them are extra large, but I got some double extra large. I think I got a dozen double extra large because most people are double extra large. you
Well,
know.
so if On Doe is watching this, maybe
Okay,
we
yeah,
could
you know
reach
what?
together.
I gave most of them away, and in my opinion ones, but I was gonna have some other ones made too. I get some different ideas. I don't like that in my opinion thing up there. It's too big. I don't know. The whole design of the shirt was my son's Chad's idea. One on the back, one of the crew. That was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, that's right. For those who don't
And the
know.
Stoned
Now,
Roadie.
I never knew. I mean, I just found out recently that you were the reason or the crew member in that was mentioned or in What's Your Name?
Back at the hotel, Lord, we got such a mess.
Yeah.
It seems that one of the crew had to go with one of the guests. Yeah, there's a thing that was recorded by Gary was doing an interview, and they were talking about the names of the songs, and the guy says, what's your name? And Gary said, oh, that was about Craig Reed. And they weren't mentioning any names. I went, okay, not mentioning any names, Craig Reed, but yeah, said, yeah, he got in a fight with some guy in the bar, and they thought we were all a bunch of long haired rednecks and throwed us all out. Yeah.
Another question from somebody by the name of Olvader. I wish they would use their real names. It would be easier. But Olvader said, I would like to ask Craig what he remembers about the Hamburg 1975 incident that went through the press as the bloodbath that was Hamburg. The band reportedly drank lots of schnapps, and Ronnie slammed a broken bottle into Gary's wrist. Thanks in advance. Greetings from Hamburg, Germany. So, what was that
Yeah,
about?
I remember that pretty well. I was in there with him. It was John Butler, who I think is dead now. He was the road manager, and Gary and Ronnie. And it was after a show, as I recall. And Ronnie was sitting there, and Gary was sitting there, and John Butler was sitting there. And I was in there, standing up, just, listening to the conversation. And I don't really remember exactly what it was about, but I stepped out of the room for a minute, and next thing I know, all hell broke loose. And I didn't see it, but I heard that, um, which I saw the evidence because John Butler and Ronnie hit him in the head, busted a beer bottle over his head. When I went in, John was holding his head, and Gary's bleeding bad. No, I mean bad. Ronnie cut him up pretty good. And that was when Alan or after Ed King had left. I guess I don't know. Maybe it was over something about the way that Gary was playing. He wasn't filling in right, or who knows. But yeah, Ronnie hit John Butler in the head with a beer ball and broke a beer ball over his head, and then proceeded to cut Gary's hands up. And yeah, he was bleeding bad. I mean, they had to pay for all the carpet in that old hotel. It was 40 grand or something like that to
Oh,
replace all that
wow.
carpet. It was all covered in blood. Yeah, he was playing bad, but man, I remember, and they didn't cancel or nothing, and they continued to play. And Gary's up there playing literally with his hand with two fingers. I mean, literally played Lynyrd Skynyrd music with two fingers. He didn't have any other fingers, and he was excruciating pain. You could see it. It was. I don't know how he did it. I really can't see how you could do that, but he did it. And I still respect him for this day for that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was incredible. I mean, you talk about football players hurt being hurt and playing hurt. That ain't nothing compared to what Gary endured through that one. That guy's incredible, man. I mean, he's a trooper, that's for sure. And I wish he could be out there and finish it up without having to be in the condition he's in. But at least he's still here, you know.
Yeah, I'm so happy. We pray for Gary because Gary's the last one left, and you
Yeah,
know,
Gary's a good guy, man. He really
he
is.
is. I would love if I know I mentioned one of my first my last visit here. I would love if he came on to the show, just spoke a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But we'd love
Nah, he's
everybody would love to see him.
yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned when Ed King left. I know that must have been so difficult for Alan and Gary going from three guitarists to two guitarists until Steve joined the band. I mean, how did they cover those guitar parts? I know, Give Me Back My Bullets. It was just the
Yeah,
two
they had
guitars,
to
right?
I'm not being a musician. I'm not really exactly sure how to come up with an answer to that. But yeah, they had to drop a couple songs, I guess. I don't know. That was kind of over my pay scale.
But the album was excellent. I loved Give Me Back My Bullets. That had a lot of excellent songs on it,
Oh
and
God, yeah, that's
they
one of
pulled
my
it off.
favorites. And that
Yeah.
song too, "Give Me Back My Bullets." And if you don't know what that song means, it was like after nothing fancy, they kind of bullets is the term in Billboard, it's number one with a bullet or no or not. You can't have a bullet with number one because that's the top, but number 10 with a bullet would mean it's going up. Number 10 with a bullet, and it'll go up higher, so yeah. So when after they did nothing fancy, they kind of lost the bullets in their Billboard chart, so when they did Give Me Back My Bullets, that's what that was about, Give Me Back My Bullets. It wasn't about, but they had to quit playing that song because people were throwing bullets up on the stage. They would go there with handfuls of 22 shells and give me back my bullets, and they were getting peppered with bullets. So Gary got
Yeah.
hit real hard with a 38 one shell one time, and Ronnie
Oh my
decided
gosh.
we're gonna need to keep that quit playing that song before they put them in guns and shoot.
I had
Crazy
no idea.
bastard.
That's the first time I'm hearing. I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
no
yeah. That's
idea
what it's
that's
about.
what they're
Yeah,
talking about.
we better
Wow.
quit playing it before they put them in guns and give them back to us. So yeah, they stopped.
Oh my goodness. That was great. I did not know that. Another question from Ryan Gibbons. Craig, I love to hear about the famous Skinner Blue Oyster Cult roadie fist fight.
Oh, that was we were using Tycho Bray was a PA company. I don't know, something was wrong with Ronnie's front monitors, and he had a tendency, if the monitors didn't work right and he couldn't hear them anyway, he would just take his foot and push the speaker cones in on him. And he kind of did that, I guess. And one of the sound guys was turning off the monitors or something. I don't know. And Joe Barnes tackled the guy in the in the back of the stage, and except for the other guys got in on it, so we all got in on it, and the band was playing during the whole thing, and Ronnie said, "Excuse me, our crew needs some help," so they quit playing and come back to help us fight. But it was one of those things where they're still talking about it, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But Pete, this band has got these things that just become legendary, just like this. It was, yeah, it
Wow.
happened, but it was just blown way out of proportion. you know.
Just like the picture behind you. I mean, that picture tells a million words. Like Steve is smoking and enjoying, Gary's drinking something. You're like, oh, Steve didn't really party with the band. I'm thinking, beg to differ.
No, no, no. Yeah, we parted, when we were in the studio and rehearsal, which was a lot. Back in those
Yeah.
days, we were either on the road or at home or at the studio. It was just nonstop. That's the way it was for 4 years. The way I was with them, I was either when I started out, I was staying at the Hell House because when I went down there, the only place I had to stay was the 8 Days Inn with Ed King and Bob Burns, and then one of the band had to stay out at the Hell House, and they didn't like to stay out there, and I didn't mind it. So Gary was supposed to stay out there, and I think I'd already stayed out there with Billy, and so then Gary had to stay, and I said, "Well, hell, I'll stay," and so you don't have to stay. So he went out and lifted up a cow turd and pulled a psilocybin mushroom out from under it and gave it to me. And Rondi handed me a 22 rifle and said, "Here, we'll see you tomorrow." So I stayed out there quite a bit. Me and Chad and Sue would stay out there and just camp out. And it was weird out there in the middle of the night, in the middle of that cow pasture out there, because that water was real close, and there was snakes and gators, and it was a treat. There was right, yeah, there was rattlesnakes all over the place.
So tell me about that Hell House. What did they own it? How many rooms were there? I mean, they just went there and practiced.
Dean,
That was the
Dean, from
first
what I
place?
understand, Dean found it. They were,
Mhm.
they had a place in Jacksonville, and it was like everybody would stop there, and they needed a place to go where it was way out of the way, and nobody would just stop by and show up, listen to it, because it was distracting. Because when I started with them, I mean, we were there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you had to drive 40 minutes to get out there. It was way out in Green Cove. So yeah, 10 o'clock they were there, and they rehearsed until 4, at least 4 every day, and then they go home. So
But
it
who
was like
owned the home? Was it an
that was
abandoned
John.
home?
I think his name was Williams. I think it was his last name, but it was just a farm, and it had that little cabin in the back, and they named it the Hell House for good reason. It was hotter than hell. There was no AC. There was no insulation, and the water was really hard. It smelled like raw eggs. When you walk in there and you immediately smell raw. It smelled like raw. The hard, it was mineral water or hard water. It just smelled real bad. Yeah, it
So,
wasn't. It wasn't. We had a refrigerator, I think, but everybody was so poor they couldn't put anything in there. Yeah, we made five. When I started, I made $5 a day. That was for food, and it was no pay. And I heard that was we just got they just got a raise. They were all making $3 a day before I started. Yeah, we would get $5 a day, and we were staying at the Beverly Hills Howard Johnson's, uh, um, and staying there and going to the record plant to record. And we all got $5 a day per diem, and some days we would all go to the Western Sizzler. I think the steak and everything was under $5. Either that or we'd all save our money so we could buy a bag of pot.
yeah.
Yeah, I think my first paycheck was $87.50 take home, from what I remember.
So what eventually happened to the Hell House? I know it's not there anymore, and somebody said there were
Well,
condos or
yeah,
something built there.
after
But what?
I forget what album it was, they started building the studio down on Riverside. That was probably late 75. They started building that studio down on Riverside, and we moved down there. But yeah, they were. I don't know what became of it out there now, but yeah, that's when we moved when we left there, and then it was right there on the corner. I don't remember what kind of store it was before that, but we had a studio there, and then 38 Special had the studio right next door to Skynyrd's studio, And
Mm.
then Johnny, you'd hear Johnny over there every once in a while and rehearsing with Austin Nichols band. I think they were over there when they were really, really young, playing the records and stuff. Like you do when you're starting out.
But is the Hell House still in existence, or did they
I don't
demolish it?
know. I
Oh.
don't know. I wouldn't know that. I doubt it.
Yeah, I thought I had read that they knocked it down or put condos or something. But for people who wanted
No,
to go,
no, no, no. What am I talking about? No, that's yeah. Sometimes I have a brain fart. Yeah, that place it hasn't been there for a long time. Yeah,
okay, that's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
heard.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I don't know what I was thinking of. These are live and unedited, so some of the times you know,
We are
but
not
we,
professionals,
we
and I
just
said
we
that.
just roll with it. I mean, it is what it is. They said when I was in that airplane crash, I'd have brain damage, and I just displayed some right there. That's all I can say about that.
Well, I was just asking about the Hull House because I think people would probably, if they knew it was still there, they'd want to go see it. But I
No,
didn't
no,
think
no. That's the place where they put that housing development.
that's what I was asking
Yeah,
you.
okay. Yeah, well,
Okay.
God, that's so long ago. It's like,
Seriously.
yeah. Yeah, that's where they put the housing place. Yeah, they tore that down. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
I wonder if there are any pieces of the Hell House that I'm sure people probably like have those and
there's people that have
hold
put
those.
pieces of the foundation and
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
sure. Just like somebody asked you last
Yeah,
week.
I had pieces of the boat dock.
Yeah. Just like somebody
Yeah.
asked you last week about Alan's old car that's on your property, and somebody said, I'll give you money
Yeah.
for the license plates. I
For
said,
the
no, no,
license plate.
I'm gonna buy those license plates if you ever sell those.
Yeah, it's not about 500, but I said I'll think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. I want that license. Yeah, no, she's not getting it. It's I just want to mention Sherry Padula is always writing so many nice things. She and Kathy Keeble, they're like celebrities in their own right because they're so sweet and they're so complimentary. And they were just before we trying to get this started tonight. Sherry's like, Craig, are you guys doing a podcast tonight? I said, yeah, you know, Craig was a victim of Murphy's Law today, but they're just so excited. And I said, you may not see it till tomorrow. But Sherry Padula, and Kathy, definitely really cool ladies and big fans of yours and Griff's and the podcast. And so am I. As I said, when I first started talking to you on the phone, I was like, why didn't you write a book? And you said, oh, I have this podcast, and they're so great. They're so great. Everyone is better
Well,
than the
these podcasts, when you do a book, you're kind of talking about what you want to talk about.
Mhm.
But when you do these podcasts like this, you're kind of like people want to know things that you might skip in a book. And
Yeah.
there's so many things that when I do these, people ask the questions. I go, God, I forgot all about that. And if I was to write a book, I'd forget about it. So, yeah, it's more like this is kind of like a up to date way to do a book, I guess, because you can actually ask questions that ask the things you want to know instead of somebody just sitting there telling you a bunch of stuff. You can actually, find out what you specifically would like to know about the whole thing. Because that's why you write. It's why you read a book to find out things you don't know, that you'd like to know. And be
Yeah.
cool if you could just ask the book a question that ain't in there. Hey,
And
book,
I
what about this?
and I have Gene Odom's books. He had sent those books back to me when he first wrote those. He was so kind. I'm a big fan of Gene Odom's and the book I'll Never Forget You and the other one, I believe he wrote two books. He sent me those. And those are great, great, great stories. A lot of things that, you didn't know otherwise about the band and Ronnie and everybody. So those are Gene Odom's a great guy too. Shout out to Gene always. Hope he's doing well. I haven't seen anything from him on Facebook for the past couple of weeks. So I hope he's
Yeah,
well.
I supplied most of the pictures for his first book. He was doing that book, asked me if I had a picture. So I gave him every picture I had. And he used what he wanted.
And I hear there are some pictures of you in there mixing drinks or whatever
Mixing
you.
drinks. He said I could do anything they wanted for a band, but I don't know what he's doing in the kitchen because he can't even boil water. He must be making drinks or something. That's what I was doing.
Or
Yeah.
roller skating. I just saw a picture of you on Facebook tonight. It was a Skynyrd picture, and you're roller skating. Oh, it was from Rossington Collins. You had rollers. Oh, no, you had shorts on. I'm sorry, not roller skates. You had shorts on and some socks, and you were helping Dale with something. But you're always, you
Was
know.
it the one where I was jumping off the stage?
No, I did see one of you jumping off the stage. I think with roller skates,
Oh,
but
there
this
was
was the night.
another one of me roller skating. That I had to have been with Journey then. That's when I was roller skating when I was with Journey.
Why were you wearing roller skates? Because you couldn't. You had to get
It
around
was a
faster.
faster way around. Yeah, at the end of Lynyrd Skynyrd, I actually had one of those scooters, with the handlebars on it, the Razor scooters.
Mhm.
That's how I would get all around the gigs. I wouldn't have to walk. I could get on that scooter and fly around. I'd
Oh,
come
that's
up
pretty cool.
and somebody was always stealing my scooter. My scooter, and I'd be walking around. You son of a gun! You stole my scooter. But yeah, when I was on stage and the band was playing, I was kind of took care of their drinks and stuff. And if I'd have to run to the dressing room to get a hat or whatever they needed on stage, I'd get on my scooter, man. I'd fly back there on that scooter and I could get back there real quick.
Well, we're doing a good job covering the questions. I think I only have one left, but we can talk about anything. But another one was from again, dark in here, from Craig Dankers. Hey, Craig, do you remember the Hollywood Sportatorium show of October 77 when Skinner broke the Florida outdoor attendance record? I was there. I'll never
Oh
forget it.
yeah. That was from what I understand, that was the last concert that they ever even did at that place because they had a floating stage and all the wires from the all the power wires went from the stage in the water and then out to the soundboard. And there was a walkway there where all the wires were out of the water, and the crowd went crazy. And there was boats. They let boats in where the stage was. They were floating boats right there at the stage, and it was all full of people in the water and in boats and stuff. And they went crazy, and they got on that floating bridge and collapsed the bridge, and all the power cables, the electricity was in the water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they could have all been
Wow.
electrocuted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So from what I understand, they quit doing shows there for that reason. Because if people go nuts like that, they could, they would.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of power, man. That power getting in that water is a lot of people going to be towed.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was dangerous. Yeah, people went crazy with this band. It was insane. They just lost their minds during Freebird. Oh my God, they just jump up on the stage and just crazy. There was always somebody jumping on stage, man. We were always pulling people up stage. It was crazy.
And it was so easy then to jump up on stage. Nowadays, you can't
Oh
get anywhere
God.
near the stage. You are behind a fence, there's a big pit, whatever. You are nowhere near the band. But the old pictures of Skinner, they're literally standing up against the stage. I mean,
Oh,
I would have been one of those people on there. You probably would have just pulled me, get out of here.
there was one
I could
show,
have, I
man.
would have.
This guy, the band would be playing, and he would jump up on stage, and I would run out there to get him, and he would jump back in the crowd, and that happened like 4 times, man. And I'm thinking, next time he gets up there, I'm gonna get him this time. And he jumped up there, bare ass naked. I mean, bare ass naked, man. And I ran out there to get him, and Ronnie snapped around and went like leave him alone. And that's why I got this thing on there, because I got that, leave him alone. So I stopped. Everybody just stopped. And so there the guy is standing up there. He thought he was going to just be up there a few seconds, So then all of a sudden there he is standing on stage naked as a jaybird. And then Ronnie just goes up, puts his arm around him like that, and takes a hat and puts it on the guy. And Ronnie's guy's standing there naked except for having Ronnie's pants on. It was hilarious. That was the funniest thing I ever seen.
Good thing that was before cell phones, because that picture would have been blown
That
up
was
all over the
classic. He
place.
thought
Can
he
you
was going to
imagine?
jump up there and dance around a couple times and jump out and then Ronnie just, oh, that was right there. He's just standing there naked. It's like people would have nightmares about that one.
What was the band like? If anybody ever jumped up, like if anybody ever jumped up and wanted to hug somebody, were they okay with that, or did you
Well, they
stop?
expected us to take care of them. We were out there pretty quick. I was
Yeah.
anyway. I was mostly the first one out there most of the time.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I love the concert where Skynyrd opened for the Stones, and the story was that they were not supposed to go out on the tongue, right? Their tongue that extended out, and
Yeah.
Ronnie just pushed the guys out there.
Well, I'm sure they kind of knew when we were making the guitar cords 90 foot long. I think the crew kind of knew the intention, because that was a big show, and there was a lot of people everywhere. I mean, there's not some place you could go and make up 90-foot guitar chords without somebody seeing you. So yeah, we used up all the chords we had except for Leon's. We didn't have enough to make it for him. So see, at the end of that thing, everybody was down there, and Ronnie turned around and said, "Come on down here, Leon." And Leon got to the end of his chord and went boing and snapped him back. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that, but that was great. That was great. Were the Stones really unhappy about that, or were they okay with it?
I don't know. It was like one of those things. They told them not to go out there, and they did anyways. I don't know. I did, you know,
It's
it
just
was just
so
one of those
well
things.
known. You see those
Oh
pictures and
yeah,
you hear the
yeah.
story.
They
Everybody
weren't
knows
supposed
they
to
weren't
go out
supposed
there, but they
to. Yeah.
did it. But
Yeah.
I don't remember. There was so much stuff going on then back then. It was all comical to me. It's like they did that things just to build their reputation. It's like when they we would be on the 10th or 12th floor, and Ronnie would want to throw a TV out of the window into the pool, but we wanted to have it on so that when it hit the pool, it would be on and not just throw one in there. So I would go down to the truck and get an extension cord long enough so it would be on when it hit the pool. Yeah, if you do stuff like that nowadays, you go to prison for attempted murder or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people think I mean, I don't know what they do nowadays, but it wasn't anywhere near what we used to do. I'll just tell
No,
you
not at all.
that.
And repeat the story about the time that somebody one of the guys put something in the shoes in Japan. The guy left the shoes out in the
Oh no, it
hallway.
was in San Francisco. We
Oh, it's
stayed
San
at the
Francisco.
Japanese the Miyaka Hotel. That's where we were when Ronnie got beat up at the Miyaka. I don't know. Yeah, Japanese, they leave their shoes outside the room. So Leon went and grabbed some guy's shoe, pulled his socks out of the shoe and shit in his shoe and put the socks back in. I
Is
don't remember.
Leon's son listening to this?
I'm
Hey,
sure
Dad.
I'm sure he's heard the shit in the shoe story. Yeah. I'm sure he's heard that one. That's a pretty famous story.
They were so much fun.
So, Ms. GODSEY, how long have we been doing this here?
I don't know.
Have
I'm
any
just having
idea?
fun. It just
We'll
cats
just
aren't
roll
really.
with it. As long as they got something to talk about, we'll just do an extended version here. People want us to do one with. like Jack Nicholson said in Going South. Well, you damn sure got your wish. You won't understand that unless you know the movie. Well, you
Which
damn
movie
sure
was
got
that?
your wish.
Was that Cuckoo's Nest? Which
That
one
was
was it?
before Cuckoo's Nest, probably. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it had to have been.
mine was The Shining. The Shining
Oh
with
yeah, yeah.
oh, I love it. I love it. Now
Well,
you're the great.
don't get me on movies, or we'll get off the.
Oh yeah.
We'll go
Yeah,
in
I
another
know.
direction. Remember who you're talking to. I'll go off on left field at any at any at any moment.
I know. I know. Well, you are the source for everything. You have a good memory. You're a
I,
good
y- y-
storyteller.
you know that what you were talking about, all those people were saying. It tickles me to to a lot of people are saying about that, about the Stoned Roadie show, that they just enjoy it so much. Do them longer. We like to listen to them on our way wherever, and it's like,
Mm.
it's humbling that, but it's just part of that thing that people just are so still into things that the legend of Lynyrd Skynyrd or whatever it is. And it's like humorous to me that people, Mr. Craig, people are always Mr. Reed and all this stuff, and it's like, just call me Craig, man. It's just like people are saying, well, what were they like personally? They were like people. They were they were like anybody. They just played instruments, but it's hard to put people like, just because I was a roadie, they put me on some kind of a pedestal. I'd have loved to have done that, and I can see where they're coming from. It was a unique life for me, I mean, I didn't make as much money as a dentist or whatever, but I didn't stand around with my hands in somebody's mouth all day
That's right.
either. I'd have been right much, but did what I did, banging chicks and doing drugs and drinking beer, booze, man. That sounds like that's like
Part
what a
that's
life.
part that's
I mean,
part of
when
the
I start
job.
when you're 22, man,
Yeah.
that's a dream job. I mean,
Yeah.
I should have paid them to be doing this.
And you were in the right place at the
God.
right time for that. But
Oh
you know,
yeah, I did it when you could get away with shit you can't do now. The stuff that's going on nowadays with politics and all this stuff. God, I'm just glad I grew up or I never grew up, but I'm glad I lived through those years rather than
yeah.
these years. God, it's just, like they say, we had the best cars and the best women. Yeah, well, we did have the best women. They aren't fat like they are now. My God, I'm glad of that one. Yeah, we had the fastest cars and the nicest looking cars and the best music, and you know, we I grew up in a time, and you did too, when you remember when there was no cell phones, there was pay phones, man. And
Oh
you're
yeah.
trying to find somebody's house, and the next thing you know, you're trying to find a cell phone so you can a pay phone so you can call them for instructions.
Yeah. I mean,
I
if you
mean,
go
I
to a
couldn't imagine.
party, I'm sorry, if you go to a party at a friend's house or a party, you'd be sitting there talking and everybody be playing records and there was no, it was just fun. You would just hang out and talk to people. But today, nobody communicates. They're missing out on that. There was a TV show, it was very short lived with Judd Apatow, Freaks and Geeks. I loved that show. It was about, took place in the Midwest class of 1980. So that was around the time when I went to high school. But it was just such a good example of exactly what it was like to grow up and go into high school in the 70s, the way they dressed, the music they listened to, the kind of cars they drove. They all wanted to be musicians. They went to parties and they just listened to Skinner and Zeppelin and all. It was just so cool. And we don't have that anymore. It's not like that. Everybody's on their phones and they're missing out on so much. They really are. They really are. I try to get my daughters to listen to the music I like, and they don't get it. But a couple of weeks ago, I was with my daughter. We went to the beach. We took her dog, and we were sitting on the beach, and I was playing Skinner, the Railroad song, and her dog was just having fun. I put the Skinner hat on. I said, that's her favorite song now. I mean, my daughter was enjoying it. She doesn't know Lynyrd Skynyrd, but she's like, this is a really good song. They don't have that anymore. These kids don't have that appreciation for music like we did in the 60s and 70s. So I'm blessed that I'm 61 and I don't care because I'm so happy to have grown up in the 60s and 70s. And, I think I'm fortunate to have that part of my culture and my
Yeah,
upbringing. Yeah.
you're a decade younger than me, so but yeah, we
Still have a
there's
lot to
things,
talk about, right?
but it killed me today when I was talking to you and on your cell phone, and you were getting gas and you're sitting in your car, and I said, well, you're done pumping your gas, and you said, no, I'm they are still pumping my gas. I'm going, what do you mean they? Somebody's putting gas in your car? And they go, well, yeah, in New Jersey, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to put your own gas in your car. I said, no way. And they go, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like, and yeah, that you haven't been. It hasn't been full serve in Ohio for God 30 years or something like that.
Well, we've
Yeah.
always had full serve in New Jersey. And if you're a little impatient and you get out and you want to take the thing out of your car, they won't let you do that. But New York, I'm on the
Wow.
New Jersey, New York border. New York, it is all do yourself. And I
That's
worked in I
crazy.
worked in New York for a long time, and a lot of times you don't want to get out of your car in the middle of the city in the middle of the night and put gas in your car. So it's nice to have New Jersey where they do it for you. Plus, it's a little cheaper too. It's a little cheaper than New York. So yeah, and I'm not going any more do it your own pumps anymore. You get your hands all dirty and standing outside the car. No way, no way. But
Oh
that's
my God. Yeah. I bet a
yeah.
lot of people listening to that don't know that. Yeah.
Come to New Jersey and we'll pump your gas for you. I don't
Oh
agree
my
with the
God.
politics, but you know what? I was born here, so
I
got to
learned
deal with
something today. Yeah.
it.
I had to call her about my misfortune on my Murphy's Law visitation on my had to get it
Yeah.
fixed. I had to call you on your cell phone and you're done. I'm getting gas. You're done, right? No, they're still putting it in. They are. Well, oh, cool.
And the gas went up already like 30 cents or something from
Yeah, it
yesterday to
was
today.
I bought oh my God, I keep gas on hand, but yeah, I bought it yesterday. I think it was Tuesday, no, or Monday. I bought it. It was 350, I think. It went up to 399, I think, today. It went up 50 cents, I think, today. I
Now it was
heard.
313 here the other day. Now it's like 330 something.
Oh,
It's
your
cheaper.
gas is cheaper than ours.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're cheaper in New Jersey and we don't have to pump it, you see? So
oh wow. Ain't you special? Wow.
but we have our problems in New Jersey, so
Oh yeah, yeah. You're 30 miles from New York City. I can't imagine.
yeah. But I don't have any bridges to cross in case anything happens. So if I ever
So,
need to get out, I'll know where to go. I'll head out west.
so we have anything else? I don't mind doing these over an hour. I don't think we're right about that now. I don't know what we're at, to tell you the
Oh,
truth.
there are always things to talk about with Skinnerd and the Ross, the band
Well,
members
there's
and all the
something
people.
you'd like to bring up in the Stoned Roadie show tonight, or what's we gonna do?
I am just so happy to have been invited back. And I know that Griff got a little bit of slack after my second visit. And
What, the jerk? Oh yeah, let me tell that. Let me tell that one. That's funny. Yeah, we both there's one certain individual that we kind of busted at something he did a few years ago, and they still pay a visit to us in some morning. And somebody said, a lot of people said, "Yeah, keep her on. She looks better than Griff." And when some guy said, "Yeah, get rid of that jerk,"
well, they were just hating on Griff or something else.
Oh
I think
God,
they
yeah,
just
but
didn't like Griff, but that
can't
wasn't nice.
Kathy she can't do these every Wednesday like Griff and I. Now, Kathy and I have been discussing maybe we talk a lot. Sometimes we will talk on Zoom. We have a little show and tell sometimes. Oh, let me show you something. I'll show you on Zoom, and we'll get to talking and we'll talk about something. We go, it was like me and Griff, when we first started talking, we were going, God, what are we going to talk about on the STONED Roadie show? And we just start talking, and he go, well, right there's a podcast. So a lot of times Kathy and I'll be talking, and I'll go, God, it's too bad we didn't have this. We weren't taping that. We could that would be something, a good thing on the STONED Roadie show we haven't even talked about.
Well, I
And
think
I
that's
said,
because,
I,
well, I'm sorry. I think that's because we actually met 40 years ago. I think that's why. I was not having your advances. So I was like, leave me alone. But then 40 years later, we're friends. And I just want to tell everybody who's watching, Craig sent me these really cool stickers for my. Now, okay, you know what? It says Gibson really small. It's not really a Gibson, but it does say Gibson. Somebody was bashing me on Facebook. It's not a Gibson, but it's a cute little acoustic guitar and it has good sound. And Craig sent me some really cool stickers. Look at these stickers. A whole envelope full of stickers that I decorated my guitar with. And I also have them on a suitcase. So thank you so much, Craig. And that's a little perk of doing the STONED Roadie show. I get the stickers. And someday I want to learn how to play the guitar. I don't know if
yeah.
that's in the cards, but I wish I could.
Kathy travels occasionally. She just went out to Colorado to visit her daughter out there, and her suitcase broke, so she went and bought a new suitcase. And she mentioned to me she'd like to have some stickers to put on her suitcase so it would be identifiable. So I sent her a whole packet of stickers, and she stuck them everywhere. It was comical.
And these are
I can
rare, one of
remember.
a kind
Well,
stickers.
I can relate, because I remember when I first became a roadie, oh my God, we had to stick stickers all over our suitcase. And then you had to put on your backstage laminated pass and your Skynyrd t-shirt and walk out to the soundboard like you're
Yeah.
somebody, and everybody's looking
Yeah.
at you. Oh, he's with the band. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
wearing our new tour jackets and stuff, and standing out at the soundboard. Yeah, look at my new jacket.
Yeah. If
That
you have
stuff's
one, I'll pay
comical.
you for that. I'll
So
pay
I
you.
can I can relate to your decorating your suitcase.
My suitcase is all ready for my next trip, whenever that may be. And my guitar is ready for when I learn how to play the guitar, which I don't know if that's going to happen. But,
I
it's
told
funny.
you you were going to have to cut those new fingernails you got before you.
I did cut them.
Oh,
And I
I'm
still have a
sorry. She
couple.
doesn't have fake fingernails. She just gets some laminated or something.
I just get gel polish. Don't bash my fingernails. They're real. Everything's real about me. I don't add I don't add things, I take away. I take away things I don't need. That's an inside joke. Craig knows what I'm talking about. But anyway. Anyway, no, but back in during the Rossington Collins days, Gene Odom was so cool, as I said before. He used to put us on the backstage after show list, and I have a couple of patches. And one time we went to see them in Philadelphia at the Spectrum, Rossington Collins band, and I had my patch on my sweatshirt. Oh my God. People were like, oh my God, can I touch your sweatshirt? I'm like, you know what? It's after show. I'm not even allowed there until after the show. But I still have those patches. They're just so cool. Now they're stuck in a photo album. But yeah, I love them. And thank you for the stickers. Some of these stickers are, you know, they're just so I'll never sell them. They'll be on my suitcase until they fall off. But
Well,
thank
what
you.
was funny was when I saw them when you put them up on your Facebook page, and people were going, I wish I'd have saved all mine like that.
Yeah.
And
I never had them.
I even authenticated a couple of them. I wrote your name on there and
Yeah.
authenticated it by me.
Thank you very much. I love
That
them. I
was funny.
appreciate that. Yeah, I would never sell any of those. Just like I'll never sell the Alan Collins license plate if you ever sell it to me again. Or decide to give it to me as a gift for doing the show. That's okay.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Oh boy.
So it was a
So we
lot of
got to
fun. What?
do what?
No, I was saying it was a lot of fun, and today I was off work, so I was able to do this, and I know that Griff does a great job as hosting this show, moderating the show. So, but if he's ever needs me, you guys ever need me to cover again, just let me know, and I'll
Oh
come.
no, I'm sure you will. Well, Griff's not finished moving yet, and he just was trying to get in a house down there and in Florida, right where that hurricane went through, and he just sold his house and he's trying to buy another house, and something was up with the roof on the other house, and they couldn't get insurance on the roof, and the
Poor
hurricane was
Griff.
coming.
Poor
They
Griff.
had a lot of problems down there. And oh my God, he's been telling me about selling his house, and the guy wanted him to put a new water heater in before he sold the house. And then the guy came out to inspect the house, and he had to rebuild the retaining wall. And his neighbor's a real jerk and reported him because he didn't have a permit to do it. He's just, I guess his
Poor Griff.
neighbor just.
And then he fell last week. That the I
Oh, on
couldn't
his
believe it
bicycle
happened to
and
his
ripped his
arm.
arm open, and
That looked like a shark attack. It was so graphic, and I don't know. That poor guy. He needs like a whole suit of armor when he goes out on his bike, because that's the second time that's happened, right? He was
yeah,
really injured.
he's put I asked him how it was. He said he's putting cream on it, but he's not doesn't have the band-aid on there so that it will heal better. Like
Ooh.
mine, my doctor, I said, "You're gonna leave that
Mhm.
unprotected?" He goes, "Well, it'd be
Yeah.
better to get air." And I said, "Man, I don't feel comfortable having that thing out there raw right now without some kind of protection." So they put this on there. But I'm going to take it off as soon as I get done with this. I just don't want to hit this again. I don't want
No.
to bang my arm. I'm going to be doing something where I'm not going to bang it, because I've probably got a laceration from about, I don't know, where's from about that long,
Oh
probably.
my goodness.
It's pretty long. They had to take that plate out of there. I don't really know how big the plate was, but yeah. But I'm
Oh,
doing good. At
good.
least
I'm glad to hear
I had
that.
a hole. I had that plate. I had to take the plate out because I fell on it again, and I had a hole in my elbow right here.
Oh my goodness.
It was like water that was pouring out of there. It wasn't infected or nothing, but it wouldn't heal, so I had to go to a wound specialist. And they were talking about maybe having to take a skin graft off my thigh or something to make it heal.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I heard it pretty bad, but that I had that plate in there and it wouldn't heal. So that's my story.
I'm glad you're doing better. And I see your little doggies next to you.
Yeah, we didn't introduce Leon and Wicker. They're over here being good
Oh,
boys. Come here, you guys.
oh, how
Oh,
cute they are.
there's Wicker and there's Leon.
Oh, they are the cutest little dogs. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah, these are my babies.
Oh, oh my goodness. Hello,
Yeah,
baby.
you guys good boys. Yeah. All right, you got your airtime. So, Kathy Godsey, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to continue on this Stoned Roadie show? I wish I knew how long we were doing this. Yeah, I have no idea,
Well,
but
it's dark out. Probably 2 hours.
no, it hasn't been that long, I don't think. This time sure has flown. It's been a pleasure to have you on again. It really has.
It's always
And,
a pleasure speaking to you. You're a cool guy. You're a
well,
cool
we
guy.
talk a lot, you know. I mean, not a lot, but we talk most every day, sometimes every day, and we just and you're fun to talk to, you know, and
Oh, so are you.
you're
Yeah.
you know you do a lot of you're kind of like in a different world from where I'm at in New Jersey. I'm out here in the country of Ohio, and it's pretty interesting. You tell me about some of the culture stuff that goes on there that doesn't
Hmm.
exist here where I'm at. It's kind of, pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I like your job. What Kathy does, she works with you go ahead and explain
I
it.
work with special needs students. Actually, I'm a transition teacher. I work in a private school, and my students have already graduated high school, and I'm teaching them transition skills to transition out into the community. So we do travel training and community awareness and employment preparation and financial literacy. It's fun. So we're out, 2 days a week. We're out of the classroom anyway. We go on trips. They go to work. Tomorrow we're going to some type of a art museum or something like that. So it's fun. It's a fun job, and I love it. After having worked in the Bronx for 6 years, this is a pleasure. I paid my dues by working in New York City. It's not a fun place, and it's a pretty dangerous place. So now I'm in a really nice setting. So I have time for this. If we're still working in the Bronx, I wouldn't have time to do any of this right now. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure getting to know you and being part of this. And it's my little 15 minutes of fame, I guess you want to call it. And someday we'll have to all meet up in Jacksonville, like we said,
Yeah,
Jean,
yeah, we
Griff,
talked
and
about that before. Yeah, yeah.
maybe the kids, maybe your son, and maybe Lily, whoever's around, we can all meet up and hang out one day. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd love to meet up with you sometime.
Yeah.
But well, what are we gonna do now? We got anything else to talk about? I think we could pretty much wrap this up. But you know what? I think we ought to start doing the weekend things every once in a while, just as a special. I mean, me and Griff will keep
Knock it
continuing
off. Oh, I'm sorry.
to do these things on Wednesday, like we've been doing. But like some of the times when we talked, we should, put the Zoom on and then just kind of record it and when we talk about 5 or 6 things that sometime on we'll just make a special weekend show, Stoned Roadie show, and
Sure.
just
Yeah.
some of our we can talk more about YouTube, like we tried to address the YouTube thing and get some of the field some of the questions that Griff and I really don't pay much attention to. We could maybe just look up that avenue a little bit and just field some questions over there and just do this every once in a while. But you can do them on the weekends. You can't do them during the day, but we can do a little
Oh
short one on the
yeah.
weekends. Yeah.
I mean, I always look at the YouTube comments, and I love reading YouTube comments, and I think they should be read and they should be acknowledged because people are so supportive, and I think they should be when they ask a question. I think it's good to give them a shout out. People like to hear their name mentioned, and they like to be acknowledged and appreciated. And Kathy Keeble, I haven't met her yet, but she's just amazing, and Sherry Padula too. Just they're so supportive and big fans of the show and yours. And I think that's really, never take that for granted. Always appreciate the people who support you and the people who watch. And, I think that's really always appreciate that and be
Well,
humble, which you are.
I talk a lot. I mean I comment to you every once in a while about our subscriptions on
Mhm.
YouTube, that we just crossed the 600 mark, and it's God, we've been doing this for, well, be I think we started doing them around what, February or January or February, maybe December. I don't even remember, but a few more months we'll be doing this a year, and I thought by now we would have surpassed the 1,000 mark, which the 1,000 subscription mark is where you get a little more attention from YouTube, like you're not just something fly by night. And God, listening to the comments, it just doesn't sound like the Stone Roadie show is just fly by night. But like you were saying, that you didn't think that people that weren't actually a member of YouTube could like and subscribe. And I didn't think that was true, but as I was preparing, because Griff usually sets these up, I'm gonna use a different format than Griff does when he records them, because this is really the first time I think I've ever recorded one and put it out, you and I especially. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, but like I was saying before, if we could get you people to like and subscribe, if you can, it don't cost nothing. It just puts us up on a higher algorithm, and we would really like to get up to a point where YouTube did pay us to do this. And like I said, Griff or I don't want any of the proceeds, but we would like to be able to, if Paul or if Mark Howard needs, has to go in and has an operation, I was involved with a fundraiser for Paul Abraham last month and stuff, and the goal was 10,000, and I think we're just somewhere around the 9,000 mark, I think. And Paul just said, that's enough, because I think he got to the point where it was just like it was moving real slow, and he didn't want to appear like he was begging people to, support it. But I think Paul went back to the doctor last week, and he was real apprehensive about seeing the doctor, and he didn't think things were maybe as bad as he found out that they might be, because he was saying that he's now got to do radiation, and it's gotten into his areas where it's likely to spread, and if he doesn't do more chemo, doctor gave him about 6 weeks. So he's accumulated some bills, and we'd like to keep supporting Paul, but we'd also like to get our algorithm up, so we could make a few bucks on this thing, and help support the people that are still suffering from that plane crash, because they just never got in. There should have been $1 million at least on everybody on that plane should have got at least $1 million, and even that wouldn't have been enough. It would have been for me, because if I'd have got that much money in one time, I'd have killed myself like Alan did. I really would have.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree, but I think that people don't realize that when you're watching, if anybody can watch a video on YouTube, but if you want to like or subscribe, all you have to do is hit the like and subscribe, but you have to have an account. All you have to do is you just set up an account with an email address. It's so easy. It's just like setting up a Gmail or whatever. It's easy. You just set it up with an email, and then you can create a list of songs that you like, a playlist. You can do all kinds of fun things, as long as all you have to do is set up an account. So it's easy. But if they do that, just to like and subscribe, then this way you can leave comments, and your comments can be acknowledged and recognized, and then it'll help your viewers, your amount of subscribers will help you. So I hope anybody who is watching this will do that. It's real simple. It doesn't cost anything, and nobody's asking for any money. It's just something that you do so that you can comment to be part of it.
Yeah, if we can get to 1,000, they'll raise us on the algorithm chart,
Yeah.
and then we'll get more viewers, and then we'll get more subscribers. And
Yeah. Yeah.
if we can get 100,000 views or whatever, we can, maybe we can start covering some of these expenses some people have.
Oh,
Be nice,
definitely.
you know.
I
So
think you had about 600 subscribers last time I
yeah,
checked.
yeah,
So,
yeah, something like that.
but
Yeah, I didn't think we'd have this much trouble getting to 1,000, but yeah, it's kind of why I really haven't been paying much attention to the YouTube stuff. It just kind of, it starts moving slowly. But then you said that, we're getting a lot of comments on here, so
oh yeah.
I've just been really focusing on the YouTube or on the fake book audience because that's kind of where this started, and I have quite a few friends over there that I have conversations with every day and stuff, and they'll ask me things, and I'll say, well, we'll talk about that on the STONED Roadie show.
Yeah.
I've met. It's amazing the friends. I didn't want to get on Facebook at all, not at all. But I've met some really cool people. Through in all kind of walks of life. I mean, God, I get I get invitations to travel all uh just all over the place and do some really cool stuff, and I just don't really take anybody up on it because of the situation with the United States. I don't want to get somewhere and then not be able to buy gas to get home or whatever. Especially people have been wanting me to go down to that monument site, I don't, I just I it's right at November. I mean, and
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to be happening around November, so I'm not even gonna, maybe next year if the government straightens out, man, I hope so. If it don't, we're all screwed.
So you have never been back there?
I've
You've
never
never
been.
been back to
No,
the site? Okay. Well,
no.
it's understandable. It's you know, people have mixed opinions about going and seeing that. I know that Corinna Gaines was not happy about it. I saw her on video. She was not happy about having gone there. I guess at the opening or something like that.
Yeah.
She was not happy about being there. She just felt it to be very sad. So, but people will go and for whatever reason, but man, it's there for those who want it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, Karina, my son Chad told me that Karina really didn't remember Steve,
Hmm.
which is, I wish she did, but she was really young, so it's kind of a shame not to have any memories of it like that. But she was
Right.
around, if she was young though. But some of the other, like Chris Pyle and Leon, little Lee and Chad and you know, Billy's boys never. I mean, Brandon and Joel, they came around every once in a while, but it wasn't like Ashley and Maggie, Billy's stepdaughters, that they would come out with Ellen, and they during the Rossing the tribute thing, they came out quite a bit, and I saw Brandon and Joel a few times, but um and I don't remember seeing Brandon and Joel a lot um during the old Skinner days. I just don't remember seeing them a lot. I got a bad memory, but I don't remember. I asked Chad about it. He said he didn't remember them hanging around a lot in the old days.
Well, they'd have to
Mm.
be close to 50 if they were even, right?
Well, Chad will be 51, I think, and yeah, Chad will
Okay.
be 51 in
Yeah.
December. Imagine Chris is around the same. Now, Brandon and Joel, I don't know. I don't know how old they are. I think Brandon is a guitar player. I don't know if it's his. I don't know what he does per
Oh,
main
cool.
occupation or whatever. But I think Joel, I think, became an attorney. But
Oh,
yeah, if they want to come on, if they got some stuff to talk about, we'd be happy to have them come on and just contact me.
oh, definitely. It'd be so
Anybody,
nice if
anybody wants to come on the Stone Roadie show? Any old friends I had in the business, if we, you know, oh yeah, and then we're gonna have, oh my God, I'm having a, what's that guy's name? Oh my God, Campbell? No, oh my
Brandon
God,
Campbell.
uh, I'll just drop it right there if I can't
That's all right. It'll
think.
come back to you later. It'll come back
Yeah,
to you later
yeah.
when you're done.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Anyway, sorry, but I can't. I
That's
could.
all right. It'll be
I
like you
have
forgot to
names.
mention me.
I went to the get my hair cut the other day, and I've known this lady for oh God, I don't know, 40 years. Oh, longer. Yeah, no, 50. Yeah, 30 years maybe. I don't know. But I go there to get my hair cut all the time. And there's her mother. I was making an appointment. She goes, I knew your name when you came in, but I forgot, you know. So it happens.
Now
That's my
your
excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
your hair has gotten a lot shorter since I
It
watched your
has gotten a lot
podcast. Got a
shorter,
little bit of transformation, right? And when
yeah.
I first watched the first show, you had the big hat, you had the big beard, the must, the whatever the heck it was all, and those you had some weird overalls,
That was
a
a joke. That was one of
Farmer Joe shirt.
my costumes,
Now I see a big transformation. Wow.
Well, I went to some class reunions and I saw some pictures that weren't very flattering. And some people had made comments that I would look better without a beard and that scraggly ass hair. So after I saw those pictures, I decided they might be right. So, you know, I mean, if I'm gonna be on this earth, I might as well look as best as I can at my age. I know it gets difficult at my age, but I'm gonna try.
Now, how old are you now? How old are
I'm
you?
71, but at least I'm not fat.
Oh,
And I'm not directing that. Any-
you are what you eat, you know? You
yeah,
are what you eat. Got it.
yeah.
You got to moderate stuff, you know?
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. I know. I see a lot of people wondering. If you're really wondering, I will tell you why you're not losing weight because I see the food you post on Facebook.
Yeah.
You got to give up on the bread and the biscuits and the macaroni and cheese and the gravy and biscuits and gravy ain't nothing but flour and grease. you
That's
know
FLOWER.
and if you yeah yeah somebody busted me on my spelling on when I did Facebook. Yeah, biscuits and gravy ain't nothing but flour and grease, and spell it like a flower. Yeah.
I know, but they taste good though. That's comfort food. You know, we have a Cracker Barrel about an hour from here. I don't know. We don't have it too close, but what's that's good food there. Go to Cracker Barrel. I'm glad there's not one too close to me because I'd be going there. But no, it's down home cooking good old Southern food, you know?
um,
Up here we have the bagels to deal with. Bagel. Everybody eats bagels.
yeah,
Bagels
lucky you have
all over the place.
self-control. Yeah, you have self-control though.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
I haven't eaten a bagel in a long time, nor have I eaten a donut, or I don't even buy bread anymore. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. But every I buy bagels to bring into work for my staff. I'll say, here are bagels. They'll go nuts. Are you gonna have one? I'm like, no, thanks. They say bagels and donuts are the worst things you can eat. The worst things you can eat, bagels. I mean, they're delicious. And around here, the bagel places, two at every corner. But no, no, no more bagels for Miss Kathy. You know, when you get to my age, you start to everything, you know, it's not as easy to burn it off. So stop eating
But
that
you
stuff.
don't look 61. I tell you, you don't. You
Really? Well, thank you.
no, no, you don't.
I do what I can.
I seriously would think you were in your 40s. Yeah, you're
Oh,
pretty good
oh,
age.
I love you for saying that. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anybody who says that, I'll say I love you for saying that. You know,
So,
it's
okay,
the
Kathy, Godsey,
lifestyle.
why don't we just call this? We haven't talked about anything for concerning Lynyrd Skynyrd here for a couple
Oh,
of minutes. I kind of got us off on a health kick, but I'm
yeah.
on a mission from God for anybody that doesn't know that I comment a lot. I'm on a mission from God. It's funny because everybody claims I'm an atheist because I don't believe in standardized religion or whatever you want to call it. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
my own little thing. But anyways, we're gonna leave it at that. If you don't, let me get my
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna go eat dinner, but I'm not gonna have bagels or donuts or bread for dinner. I'll have something else.
Okay, we got Kathy Godsey. We're gonna oh, let me get my clipboard here and get all prepared for
Oh,
our
excuse
closure
me.
here. Here we go. Here we go. Here. Test 1, 2, 3. All right. That was the Stone Roadie show number 34, I believe.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you didn't sing today.
No, I'm coming to that.
Oh,
No.
okay.
We don't have a script here, so so here we are, the Stone Roadie show. Here's my clipboard. People seem to be amused by that, easily amused, but so am I. And we're gonna call this Stone Roadie show number 34, and it's gonna be happy trails to you until we meet again. And somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby where free birds fly. And we're going to call that one a wrap and cut. But I can't quite do it automatically because, I got to put that away. And then I got to come down here and I got to find that little doodad that stops it. And there it is. Say bye, Kathy Godsey.
Bye, Kathy Godsey.
Bye bye.